Hey, how you doing, Adam? Here, the date is currently 11/3/2017, being very consistent with these recently, so that's pretty good. It's a good thing. I had some more journal topics to talk about today. The first one is, I kept having this vision, like, on my runs. Like, I was going for runs, or, I still go on runs. But during one of the runs, and I kept having it after this, too, I kept seeing this image in my head of, like, in that part in Earthbound, when you're in the Monotoli building, and you're going up the building, and then eventually you come to this room where there's this like little robot thing that you gotta fight, and it's like a boss. But then like eventually in the battle you get to a point in the battle where the runaway five come in, and then the battle's over. For some reason I kept picturing that, but then like as the battle was going on, as like the characters were talking on screen, and you could see the characters like talking to each other, just out of nowhere they all just stop. And then they all just look at me, like, sort of like breaking the fourth wall. Like in the video game, they all just stop, and then they all just look at me. And then they give me this, like, smile, like, knowing smile that it's like, yeah, we both know what this is. Like, this is just a simulation or whatever. Like, you're the protagonist of a simulation. And that's a remarkably solipsista. That's a pretentious word, but it's a very, like, it's a dangerous thought to have, to think you're, like, just this one person in a simulation. But, yeah, that's what it made me feel like, like, I was thinking in terms of, like, the fractal nature of the universe, how, like, the universe is just kind of like you. And then, like everything in the universe is just kind of like an expression of the one you that keeps expressing itself, which is, whatever the fucking Big Bang is or whatever. And it's all the same thing, and it's just like, the Earthbound is just kind of like a fractal sort of thing playing itself out from the beginning of the universe, and it's just, and so are you, and and so both you and Earthbound, you are Ness, you're Ness. I think is what that was telling me. And so you're the protagonist of this game. So yeah, that was that one. And again, that's a dangerous thought to have. I just want to be clear about that. Yeah, and then there was this another thought I kept having, which was I kept seeing this vision of if you've ever seen the movie Waking Life, there's that one part where the guy like sets himself on fire and he's like falling over. I think he's like some Tibetan monk or something, and he's like he's setting himself. No, he's not a Tibetan monk. That actually happened in real life, but in the movie he's like, excuse me, I'm like having a hiccup thing. In the movie he's just some guy. He sets himself on fire. And then there was something about like just the way he sort of like toppled over in the movie, like how dreams they sort of like they have this. Oh my god, it's such a hard thing to describe. Like it's like almost pixelated sort of nature to it, to a dream. How like it's messy. It's like messy pixels is what I'm thinking of. Like messy sort of pixelated fucking flames and... Well, okay, I was thinking of that, but then there was also this tie-in with like how in the Bible they're always like sacrificing fucking sheep or whatever, and just the crackling sound like mixed with, that sort of vibe of like that the messy pixels of a dream. And just the crackling of coals and, the sacrificing of a lamb or whatever. It just seems like there's for some reason I'm making that connection in my head, and I don't know how that's relevant right now, but for some reason it feels like it's relevant in some way. Like the cleansing fire. I keep thinking of the word cleanser, but I'm thinking, you don't think of like detergent, you think of like coal, like the coal cleanser, crackling coal cleanser. I can't make the sound, but you know what I mean. Coal cleanser, fire, crackling, sacrifice, something like that is going on. And again, it has something to do with the pixelated sort of messy, pixelated way dreams sort of go on in your head. And I wish I had a better descriptor of that. That's like how dreams are sort of messy in that way. It feels dusty, like dusty pixel mess. Something like that. Okay, that's all I can say. But okay, those were the two things I had written down. I don't have anything else written down, so I have nothing else to talk about now. I'll probably go upstairs and work. We're working pretty quickly on this next, Moonside Musings video, so that's good. Maybe I can start getting in a rhythm where I can just start pumping them out every other day. That would be the ultimate. Ideally, I would like to write 10-minute videos instead of 4 to 7 minute videos. But whatever. I just want to get to the point where I can just in the same way that I can get on here and just start talking about things, that I can just start typing about things and then just make videos out of them. And it's not actually just typing that goes into the creation process of those videos. I also, as I'm typing, I'm reading it out loud. I'm going over it, reading it out loud, and you can fill in some gaps that way when you just read something out loud, and it's like something comes into your head. So it's a good sort of combo thing there where you're the two methods are sort of working together to get the different because in your brain you're typing, it's going to be a slightly different perspective as you're talking, so the two things combining are just going to make something worthwhile. So other than that, I know I have to do another album. I was just and see, I had a rare moment today in the shower where I was thinking about my album and just, I liked it again. Because I thought I was just, at parts I felt oh, you're just being a fucking mechanical writing here. Fucking, everything is fucking mechanical. Jordan Peterson. I was listening to Jordan Peterson last night, and he had the perfect description of it. He said it was he says that parts of The Lion King are just being intentionally archetypal, so it's not actually art; it's just propaganda. And but he didn't say most. He didn't say all of it. He said some little parts of it. And I just when I was doing the album, there were moments there where I was trying to be intentionally archetypal, and I feel like that is probably going to take away from it in the long run. But I feel that just for the majority of it, I don't think I was doing that, or I hope I wasn't doing that. I should say, I don't think I was though. I really did make sure to make that album just pure because you get when you're doing something, you get these little whispers in your head, and it's you just have to trust those whispers, and I was trying my best to just trust the whispers, and I was thinking when I would go for my runs specifically, when I'm out on my runs, I'm always thinking of that's where my best ideas come from. A lot of the lyrics came from when I was out on runs. I would just think of them, or no, it's not even I was thinking of them. It's they were in my head already, and I was thinking about them all the time. But then I was out on the run, and then since I finally acknowledged that they were in my head. If that makes any sense, it's that thing I said before on a journal a long time ago, where I said that your thoughts or authentic thoughts, I guess I should say, are sort of like those underwater aquariums where there's just sort of this glass dome of all these fish and fucking sea life and jellyfish or whatever, and you can only sort of look at them through the glass, and to actually capture a thought through that glass is extremely difficult. But, they're just there all the time, and you're always seeing them, but they're so hard to fucking capture. And And so, you know, that's sort of what it's like. And then it's like, just because you never acknowledge it. It's like in a dream when you can't acknowledge that it's a dream because it all just seems like, you know, normal or whatever. But then it's like you finally get to a point where it's like, oh, that's something worthwhile. And you have to grab that shit. Or you can't grab it. You can only draw, like sketch it in your head, and then, like, you know, it's a very difficult process of getting that out purely. But it's worth it to try. So, okay, we're up to 10 minutes, so goodbye.